Do you want anything from the shop?
Cornetto.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you.
That's my secret, Cat.
I am a Jedi. I'm Batman. Yes.
It feels really nostalgic to me. Is
That's
it too
the
nostalgic?
point.
Yeah, are people gonna like it?
Fuck 'em.
Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe fuck yourself.
Why so serious?
The first rule of Fight Club is...
Keep your friends close. Put your enemies closer.
It's tricky like that, Jesus.
Life, finds a way.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
You talking to me? What do they call it?
They call it Royale with cheese.
It's spicy. You like spicy?
No.
It's not so spicy. Come on.
This, my friend, is a pint. It comes in pints.
Oh.
I can get you one.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Real Issues podcast. I'm your host, Matt. It's not Rob today, it's Matt, and I'm not even joined by Rob. I'm joined by a very special guest.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
I didn't realise that was my opening.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's the problem with not looking at me.
Yeah.
Staring into space. This is David Robert Guthrie,
Oh, yeah.
also known as Guffers, or Guff, or Dr. G.
Once.
Once you got called that.
Once by me.
Yeah. and
Tried
this-
pushing that didn't work.
It didn't work, did it? And this is a very special episode where we're going to chat about some stuff.
Yeah.
Some film stuff. We're going to chat about the Walt Disney Company's takeover of Fox and their monopolisation. That's not a word.
Well, like
Monopoly
discussing the
market.
potential monopolisation, yeah. I think that, yeah. Is that a word?
Monopolisation? Something like
Monopolising?
that. Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Something to do with Monopoly.
Yeah.
Little man in it, top hat, moustache. Same thing. But before we do that, I've got some on-the-fly questions for you, Guff.
Oh, okay.
About you.
Oh, right, alright.
It's a polygraph. No, it's not. just about you in film, you know? Go on.
Yeah.
So, what's your favourite film? Go
Oh,
on.
don't you know full well that's an absolute terrible question.
Yeah, this is why I didn't give you time to prepare. I was just
Yeah.
like, I'll do him on the fly, scare him.
Obviously, it fluctuates, but I think one of them that... Oh, here he is.
It's alright, it's off.
I think one of them is Looper.
Ooh.
Looper is... And it's not one that I would have... It's just one of the many that come to mind at the moment. But I think it's one of those films where I like to judge my favourite films often by, one, how often I can watch them and what they make me feel when I'm watching them. And it's like, one of those films, for example, is Force Awakens. I know it's a very controversial thing almost to say nowadays, but because I'm a huge Star Wars fan, Force Awakens genuinely is one of those films I can watch all the time. And every time I do watch it, it makes me feel the same way I did as when I first watched
midnight.
it. Yeah. Things like Watchmen, like they make me feel a lot. They kind of send me back to when I first watched them. But yeah, I think Looper, just because I realised, funnily enough, when I liked Looper, because we all went to see it. I remember we all went to watch Looper, didn't we? That it was one of those films where the only other films Rian Johnson had made, obviously prior to Looper, had already been some of my favourite movies.
Yeah.
I just didn't realise it was him. So like Brothers Bloom is one of my top 10 favourite films of all time.
Yeah.
But
Didn't
I just saw it as a film.
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, and then a few years later I was like, oh, I wonder if Rian Johnson's done anything else. And it was like, oh yeah, he's done Brick and Brothers Bloom, two of my favourite films already. And even though he's not done much, I'm like, he's done
Some
pretty
great
much
stuff.
everything I'd like to see over and over again. So yeah, I'd say Looper.
Favourite TV show?
Oh, that is a tough one.
Is that?
Breaking Bad, and I know it's so cliche, but I don't know, like, I don't know, what do I think's the best though? What's my favourite?
What's your favourite? Oh. Yeah, we won't go.
Oh, you know what? Best. I don't even know. At the moment, Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, see, that was our TV show of the year.
Was
Actually,
it?
no, we said Legion, obviously, because
you know
Legion
what?
was
Yeah,
awesome.
Legion was a fantastic
But then we were
show,
like, Brooklyn Nine-Nine's great, isn't it?
I think favourite.
So good.
I think favourite show of all time is hard to say as well, but I think at the moment, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like I was like the new series, well, not the newest series, but series 4 was put on Netflix last night.
Yeah, no, it was
before
that.
But
So
I've discovered it last night, and I watched it, and I was like, there's not a show that's made me laugh out laugh out loud like that in a while. Maybe Parks and Rec as well, but like, I don't know if I can have an all-time favourite.
No.
There
It's
probably
hard,
is
though, innit?
one.
You're changing over the years.
Exactly. There probably is one that like I'm very nostalgic about that's slipping my mind at the moment, but it's probably because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is literally very fresh
in the memory. Favourite game?
Oh, I've always stuck with the same one, Kingdom Hearts 2.
It was a good game.
Good game. I don't know if now I'd say it's my favourite. One of them's Arkham Knight or Arkham City, I think, but I love the Arkham games. I think it's just brilliant.
Yeah, so good.
But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 was always one of my all-time favourites. Yeah.
Guilty pleasure. Go on, what's your biggest film or TV?
Film or TV? Anything. Can it be anything, or does it have to be film and TV? I can tell you my guilty pleasure, because typically it's music guilty pleasures, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jonas Brothers.
Oh,
I know.
Jonas
I'm
Brothers.
not proud of it.
You shouldn't be. Get off this podcast. I'm ending it there.
But there's something about them. I think if it was a film, I don't know. I was thinking of one recently that is absolutely diabolical, but I really enjoy it. Independence Day. That's like a recent one I've realised is a guilty pleasure where it's not great, but I love it.
Yeah, no.
Just because I love it, how absolutely ridiculous it is.
It is crazy. It is like a mental film.
Yeah.
I was trying to think I think like Rush Hour, is that a guilty pleasure?
That can be a guilty pleasure, yeah. Rush Hour.
I think in hindsight it's a guilty pleasure because it's. I mean, even like I don't know, like Brett Ratner's been accused of some dodgy stuff as well, hasn't he?
And that's not just his films that he's made.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm being really distracted by this video of Gary Oldman giving his speech.
I was going to say, please finish that sentence.
Gary Oldman giving it
clickbait.
No, giving a speech. Yeah,
brackets clickbait.
I'm going to turn Facebook off.
Well, that was very unprofessional to have it open in the first place.
No, I was using it for research purposes.
Okay.
Should we get into it then?
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So recently, if you don't know, Disney have just bought a lot of Fox properties. Well, I don't know.
I think that's
so Fox are keeping sport and news. Is that it?
Yeah, it seems to be.
And then,
but like entertainment, I think has gone to Disney. Yeah.
So like everything entertainment, like even the stuff that's not like branded in a certain.
Well, it's like because like Fox News and like Fox Sports are part of a separate part of. Well, obviously,
20s.
entertainment is 20th and 21st century Fox in it. Or is
yeah,
that's what I'm unsure about. Is it 20th century or 21st century? Because I thought it was 21st century Fox that they've got, but it seems that they've got. Like I remember reading a thing that said one of the things they've obviously got now is the original Star Wars because they were distributed through 20th century Fox, which means that. Well, surely they have access to 20th Century Fox stuff as well as 21st Century Fox.
Does that mean we might get remasters then?
Well, this one I was wondering, because like I remember reading an article a long time ago.
Not remasters. I mean remasters of the original theatrical cuts.
Because like everyone's been like dying for remasters, like Blu-ray remasters and things like that, and HD remasters of the original.
Yeah, I just want widescreen. I don't care about remastering.
Oh, is that
I just
really?
don't want it to be like 4:3.
Yeah, you just want the aspect ratio.
Yeah, and I don't want George Lucas's.
Yeah, I would like to watch because obviously, like I've watched them a few times since, like in the run up to Force Unleashed. Whoa, that's not what it's called.
Force Unleashed.
It's because I got the game and I was looking at it on my board before. Force Awakens. I watched like a marathon, like the Blu-ray collection. And it breaks my heart hearing "We Are Free." It's heartbreaking.
It's sad.
And like there is a thing about it, even though like the prequels, because of my age, are what got me into Star Wars. Really.
Oh yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Even though it's.
Well, I always say Star Wars is a little bit like it's like really being in love. That you love the person for what they are and what they aren't.
Yeah.
And the prequels are everything that is a blemish on that franchise, but I love them because of what they mean to the series, if that makes sense.
It's like I remember queuing up to get in at the cinema to go and watch Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, I remember leaving school
queuing
that
up,
day.
Yeah, and like waiting in line with like hundreds of other people. Like you don't wait in line at a cinema anymore, do you?
No, yeah, exactly.
Like people just go, "Nice, screen's not ready. Go wait over there."
Seems to be still a thing in America, which I think is quite cool.
I think it's in America. But I literally remember queuing in the foyer to like get into the cinema and stuff.
That's cool.
And the films were just crap. Like when you watch them back, it's just sad.
But I mean, like, me and my friend were like trying to think of our own little cut because we said we might do a marathon either very because we never
Yeah.
watched them all together.
It's a big
Tom,
thing.
and we said that what we'll do is instead of watching episode 2, which is I think it's fair to say it's the worst Star Wars. I think it's also fair to say it's one of the worst films ever made. But I think we said we're just going to skip that because we both know what happens, and we're just going to watch the little mini series that was like the little cartoon mini series that bridged it, which is like Make Us a Samurai Jack, which is it holds up as a fairly good little mini series. I think. It looks cool. It sounds cool. It's got a lot of extended lore, and it's a pretty good series. So we said we'd watch that instead of episode 2 because screw that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Screw it.
Why is it called what it's called? Like it just
it makes no sense. Like because Phantom Menace. Yeah, get what the Phantom Menace is.
Do you? I don't. Think I do.
The Phantom Menace is the Sith. It's the idea that they've been dead for so long and like they've come back and like they've been in the shadows. Like that's what the Phantom Menace means. And then obviously Revenge of the Sith. We know what that is.
Yeah.
Force Awakens, Last Jedi, all of them we get,
Rogue One. There's that bit where that guy says
Rogue One.
That's what that is.
Yeah, Riz Ahmed. Is it Riz Ahmed that says it?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, because he's the one that does the call sign.
It's such a gosh.
Yeah, it was like what are we? Some kind of suicide squad.
It's nearly as bad. It's nearly as bad.
It's like Fan Four Stick. It's like
that was
it's pretty fantastic. Wait, say that again.
God.
But it's Attack of the Clones. The clones do attack
in the last 5 minutes,
but it doesn't. It feels more like a collection of clones, doesn't it? It's more like a rebellion.
Yeah,
I would have called it something like I don't know.
Yeah, just anything else.
Even just call it the Clone Wars, which is it's canonically known as.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Even like in New Hope, he calls it the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Like whether you know what I was thinking about that the other day. I know you probably want to move on from Star Wars.
No,
it's not
cool.
the topic of thinking. But I was thinking about this the other day, which is that he mentions the clone, like he said, "Oh, me and your father fought in the Clone Wars in New Hope." Like. Obviously, like George Lucas, I think he's been said that he didn't think it all through when he first made.
Of course he did.
Like he obviously just. And I thought, I wonder if he's literally.
They didn't there's borderline incest in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's like he clearly didn't like flesh everything out. He probably had like some form of story, but I wonder how much he'd thought about the Clone Wars, or whether that was literally just. I'm gonna throw in some world building here, I'm gonna. I was thinking that. Like, I wonder if it was literally just like Clone Wars sound cool, and clones are something that could happen in the future. But it's actually the past.
Yeah, to be fair, like thinking about it, you kind of go, "Oh, it's great world building there," but then seeing how much of an idiot George Lucas is, you go, "It was all by accident, wasn't it? He did it because it sounded cool."
Yeah,
like. It was all about making, like, it's all merch and stuff like that.
But it was like, I mean, in some respects, he's one of the smartest people alive by distributing a film and saying, all I want is the merchandising rights, and it then become one of the most merchandisable franchises of all time. But I think the thing that bugs, like, one of the gripes that I had is, and I never realised it, because it just flown over my head, but when I'm watching them in order, chronologically, I went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then to go from the scene where Obi-Wan is like discussing erasing the memory of a robot he spent a lot of years with, and has personally flown with R2-D2 and had many adventures with this droid, to then go like an hour later in like because I literally went from 3 to 4, an hour later to hear Obi-Wan Kenobi go, "I've never owned a droid before." I'm like, George Lucas, you are a tit.
It's like, at least go, like, I understand, some stuff's going to change because you're going to go, it needs to fit the story. But look back at your own film. Like, it's like no one rewatched them before.
Exactly, that's what
started doing
especially like, I mean, I can understand if you wanted to do Phantom Menace and just go in with fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Why you'd do that would be dumb.
Yeah.
But like, I can understand the other two. But the film that connects. It's literally going from 3 to 4. You feel like you would have like combed your old film and like to see anything you could like tie up. Because I mean, you tied up that scene is literally about tying up why C-3PO doesn't bang on about the fact that his master is Vader and that he's known him for years. Like you literally just say, and you don't bother wiping R2 because he ends up crashing and bumping his head in 4 anyway.
Yeah.
And he's a little beepy droid that no one really listens to.
Exactly. It's just
oh man. Anyway, personal gripes over.
Yeah, so the takeover Fox estimates me about getting off like 60 billion.
Yeah, mad that.
Mad money. I'm trying to figure out what's actually gone and what's stayed.
Well, one of the things that
BBC is saying the purchase includes Fox Films and Television Studios, as well as its 39% stake in satellite broadcaster Sky as well.
Oh, wow.
So, because obviously, Murdoch owns quite a lot of Sky. And then Fox is going to form a news-focused company with what they've got left.
Yeah.
So they're kind of not just kind of staying the same. They're restructuring as well. So
That's
like
interesting.
sport and like news and stuff.
Well, one thing
let me have a look at it.
I was going to say, while you're finding that, one thing that I did see was that when it was still in the rumour mill and people were saying that, I think people interviewed... I take this with a pinch of salt because I heard a friend tell me this.
Yeah.
But he said that he saw something with Matt Groening, which was, does that mean Disney would get The Simpsons? And he went, even if they bought Fox, Disney can't buy The Simpsons. And I felt like they can't afford The Simpsons, and I felt like that was almost like a hold my beer.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I felt like someone's like, because I know The Simpsons is worth... I mean, it might be worth looking up how much The Simpsons is worth, but it's like a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, but like when Matt Groening said that, I bet he wasn't thinking that they were discussing a $58.6 billion deal.
Exactly,
Or
I'm sure it's worth a lot of money,
mad.
but it's kind of like, it's funded by Fox, surely. Is it funded by Fox?
Yeah, it's Fox. It's all.
Yeah, so
it's
you
all
just think
Fox,
like, it's not worth that.
I think it's made Fox more money than a lot of like
it
most
probably
things.
has. It's
But
probably made loads and like tons of money, but you can't just go, oh, we're too big for that.
yeah,
That's
and now
what I
it's
mean,
like because that's almost like,
shut up.
and now especially that they are his boss. It's like I love the
Yeah.
idea. It's just like you can't afford us.
It's like,
oh,
I own
you
you.
could. Like, oh right, we were grossly misunderstood how much money you had.
Oh god.
But that is a mad amount of money
It
to
is.
throw at a project. Isn't it?
Apparently, Fox shareholders, so including the Murdochs, are getting 25% stake in Disney.
Oh wow, okay.
But it's only 25% between all the Fox
I was
shareholders.
going to say, yeah, I imagine
so
it
how
is.
much
Yeah.
that is actually getting. So it says here, what is Disney buying? So they're getting Fox's film and television studios, regional sports network, and international holdings.
Oh really?
Yeah, so sport has gone as well. I thought sport was staying.
Yeah, I
with
thought it
Murdochs,
would
but so they're gonna get obviously we said the original Star Wars films, the Marvel like superhero ones that Fox own, Avatar, Deadpool, and they're getting Modern Family and The Simpsons. There you go.
Yeah.
They've got The Simpsons. So what do you think about it as like a thing? Is it good? Is it bad? Like when you hear it, do you kind of go, oh, that's mint, or are you kind of like...
For me, mint.
"Oh,
Like, and
that's-"
I get where people are coming from, like the idea of monopolising, and the idea that it's not... It kind of does take... I think I saw one argument that was like, it does take the integrity out of cinema a little bit, and I was like, I don't know, do studios have much integrity nowadays?
Exactly,
like, it doesn't feel like the integrity is coming from the people who are making billions of dollars off stuff, as jaded as that may sound.
Yeah.
But I think, for me, I'm like... The business side of it's never going to change.
No.
But
it's about making money, isn't it? That's
it's about
any business,
exactly,
like in the world.
But if the whole point of that business is to produce entertainment, and that entertainment entertains us as the masses, and we get to see stuff that we really want to see, I can't see a problem with it, because I'm like, yeah, you can judge the business side of it all you want, but I feel like it's always going to be that way. Money's still going to be thrown to other hands, and people are going to monopolise and all this kind of stuff, and that's just the way the business side works. And this might sound terribly naive, and it probably will, but at least for example, Marvel has all their properties back, which has been a huge thing for fans for so long.
What's happening like Spider-Man now then? 'Cause Spider-Man's owned by Sony.
But they still have their partnership. Whether at some point, I wonder if it'll depend on how well. Because I think part of this would have been, obviously Marvel makes a terrible amount of money for Disney.
Yeah.
I reckon that they've equally been wanting to get these properties back. Probably run maybe a similar time to Sony.
Yeah.
But you could kind of predict. Like, it sounds bad, but I was praying that before Fantastic Four inevitably did badly, because I think that came out at a similar time as Days of Future Past, and it was pre-Deadpool, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely pre-Deadpool, I think.
And I think one thing I remember the folk worrying about was whether Fantastic Four would do.
Oh my god!
Oh, go on.
The Fantastic Four's got 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's that. It deserves it.
That's sad, isn't it?
It is sad, but it deserves it. But it's the idea that going. Amazing Spider-Man 2 did so badly, and Sony's plans felt so up in the air with the Spider-Man franchise that I feel that when Disney approached them and said, we want to cut a deal that means we both benefit from this, can we get the Spider-Man property back, but you still own it and you still earn the money off it? And that seems to have worked out for everyone.
Yeah, it's like a smart deal, isn't it?
It is a smart deal,
Do you know what? No one's doing it as good as Marvel. We've got this character who's huge in their own right, but we've kind of messed up these last two films. Like, let's work with them and make something great that we can then benefit off the back of.
Yeah, because Sony... I imagine Sony, the idea of having Iron Man in a film...
Yeah.
That's just like, you know, they must have been buzzing, because like that's the character that kicked off... It was like one of the most successful things ever, and it's kicked off... the biggest studio
exactly
to come in,
biggest
Hollywood
franchise
recently.
ever.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the thing of going, it's a very smart deal to cut, and I like the idea that in my head, the very meme way I put it together in my head is the idea of, you know, this almost hold my beer moment, which is the idea of Fox being like, oh well, we appreciate that you asked Sony this deal, but, you know, Legion's done really well. Deadpool did really well. Logan did really well. Yeah,
so that'd be interesting.
You know, our X-Men franchise, Apocalypse didn't do too great. Fantastic Four didn't do great, but we're using the X-Men properties really well in terms of, you know, New Mutants looks interesting. Logan did really well. Deadpool did incredibly well. You know, the shows that the properties like Gifted and Legion are doing really well.
Yeah.
So it's like, we've actually got this down, guys, so we don't need your help. And they're like, okay, we'll just buy everything you own then.
Yeah.
We'll just buy the umbrella that you sit underneath.
Exactly,
I think that's interesting to go and do that, where Sony, I felt like it was almost like, I wonder if they approached them in desperation, while Fox, it was like, we want these things back. And I do wonder how much of it is because, obviously... the Avengers, it looks like things are going to change landscape-wise in terms of Marvel Studios. I also wonder whether Marvel and Disney are worried that as soon as the Avengers are out of the picture, because I think whether characters die or not, I think what we can all realise is that a lot of the characters' contracts are coming up. The actors' contracts are coming up.
So
and this is the last time. I mean, Chris Hemsworth recently said that he wants to carry on playing Thor. But that's obviously his personal choice. But I think Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr. has stated that it's their time to come.
Yeah, at some point you want to move on to something new, don't you? Like no matter how much fun it is, how great it is, like an artist, for want of a better word, you're going to want to do something different, aren't you? And explore something new.
It's like Hugh Jackman. He's the longest running he's played the most amount of time playing one character in a superhero franchise. You know, and you know his time felt like it came. Do you know what I mean? Like he even said that like. He wants, and Chris Hemsworth recently said that he wants to do a film with Thor and Wolverine, and he said he's going to personally talk to Hugh Jackman to try and convince him to come back. And I thought, as amazing as that would be,
conversation, just make that the film, like him trying to convince Hugh Jackman to come back.
Get Taika Waititi to direct it, be like a mockumentary of Thor trying to impress Wolverine enough to come back. Yeah,
that'd be the best thing.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think the idea of kind of going, what can we do with this franchise now? I think it's interesting that Marvel have chosen now, whether it's because you believe that Avengers 4 will end with like some kind of soft reboot, side reboot with the whole reality warping glove that Thanos wears, and you've got, the X-Men have been here all along, or you know, whatever kind of decision you make, or whether it is literally just a case of going, we might start losing money because the property that people have made the most, like we've made the most money off, and that we absolutely skyrocketed with, is about to come to an end. And it's now, even though they said they've got the next few years planned out, I wonder if obviously because those films are going to be introducing new characters, it might be taking a step back, whether Disney and Marvel Studios are worried that obviously they did what everyone else did and made solo hero films, but then they jumped ahead by doing this ensemble film. And we were saying the other day, where though Doctor Strange and Ant-Man are really good films, they've almost been given a lot of like flack because the idea that they're still solo films,
like normal, just standard superhero films.
And they're not like main Avengers. Like Guardians had enough characters that I think it's still interesting to be an ensemble film. And obviously Thor had Hulk and that thing, and he was still a main Avenger. But you've got characters who they've been well received, but not as well received because they've maybe been new characters on solo films.
I think it was more like the films and the characters. When people like the characters, but it's like, the film's a bit bland.
And like they've been criticised obviously for the villains always being a bit not fleshed out. But I feel like I don't know if any villain in a solo origin film has ever really been that
No,
fleshed
exactly,
out. Because, like, especially when you're trying to world build a little bit.
Yeah, it's like Loki's good.
But he had a good... I think he didn't really become great. I mean, don't get me wrong, his actual role in that film is pretty brilliant. In Thor 1, I remember thinking... I wasn't that impressed with the film, but I was very impressed with Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, he's really good in it. He's really good.
Yeah, but that's because I think he's a phenomenal actor as well. But I think that's quite rare, and I think the massive positive reception of Loki didn't really come into it until Avengers, where it was well, we've already had... You can world build, you can explore him more because you've already seen his origin as well.
Yeah, which is always cool.
But I think I wonder whether it's because now Marvel have been like, we're about to go into unprepared terrain.
Yeah.
Things potentially could go downhill. What's our backup plan? Bring in the
everything.
X-Men. Yeah, because like imagine, because obviously Spider-Man reboot did incredibly well. People like praised them for Tom Holland and all this, and it was like bringing it back to what felt
great,
more honest.
Yeah.
And I imagine the idea of going, if I'm really hoping Dark Phoenix does badly, and I think it will, because I want people to distance themselves from that version.
That's been filmed then, hasn't it?
I think it's wrapped. Yeah, I think it has wrapped.
So that's going to be like the last one in that continuity.
Yeah, it will be.
Hopefully. Do you reckon they're bringing that continuity into the Marvel universe then, or are they just revamp, like going clean slate?
I hope they revamp, because one thing is they've said that one thing is if you can't get Hugh Jackman back, Hugh Jackman's been a presence within, and I know if we're going to go all reality warping and all that stuff, you can easily excuse a recast. I think I would rather a whole recast. Like, because James McAvoy, though I think he's great. Like, the three big players of that are obviously Jennifer Lawrence, who debatable as Mystique. I think she has whinged a bit about being in the makeup and stuff, and that's like, put it down a little bit. I'm like, don't do it then.
Don't do it then. Like, don't keep coming back and doing it. Like, you're one of the biggest actresses in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Like,
I love Jennifer Lawrence.
I do, but you don't need that role. Like, maybe your contract's into it. I don't know, but
like, well, I think their contract came up, and that was because like, I remember her saying that she didn't know she was coming back for Dark Phoenix before, when it was like people were saying, "Will you do another one?" And they said, "Well, we've kind of got an agreement that if like McAvoy and if the 2 out of 3 of us say we'll go back, I think that maybe the 4 of them, because I think Nicholas Holt's involved as well. I think if the 4 of the original group go back, like the majority, like they'll just go, let's do it." And I think, but because like Michael Fassbender as Magneto, brilliant. James McAvoy, Nicholas Hoult,
they're all
Jennifer
great.
Lawrence, they're all fantastic in the role.
And like,
it would be a shame to see,
and Days of Future Past was mint. It's just kind of like,
it would be a shame to see them go, but it would be. I would go. Let's see who else we can get.
It's better for the thing as a whole.
Because every other actor they've done, I don't think it's been great. In terms of Evan Peters as Quicksilver, good. But you're kind of beating a dead horse now because you did this exact same scene.
I've still not seen Apocalypse.
It's bad. It's not a good film. And it's a shame because Oscar Isaac.
It's been on like Sky for free, and I've still not watched it.
Oh man, it's Oscar Isaac, brilliant actor. And was really excited to hear him play Apocalypse, and then it just didn't fall through.
Just like wasted.
But then it's like the person who plays Cyclops. I don't care about him at all because he's the lad that's playing main character in Ready Player One. I'm hoping that film's good in terms of. I know we've got our debates about it. But, it might not be. But like and honestly, I do not like Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. And I'm just not convinced. I don't think her accent's that good.
I don't think she's very... I've not seen Apocalypse, so I don't know what she's like.
Her accent's
I don't think she's that good an actress, really.
She's okay.
She's good in like Game of Thrones, but that's because I think she spent like 10 years or whatever playing that character, so it's fine.
I think the one thing I'd like to see from Sophie Turner is a do less character role. I'd like to see her do or maybe more serious film. Because it's like, you know what, like you might be a very good actor and you've been in a series that's been, you know, massively successful, and it's like I'd like to see you go on and do something else. Something's like better than just another franchise. Because for me, like going from there to there, I can't see her as another character. Like I would much prefer to see either an unknown character or someone who's maybe had a bit more under the belt.
Exactly. Rather than going who's hot at the moment.
Like. And that was literally it. I feel
who's
like
hot and who's got like red hair.
I feel like me and my friends were talking about like for it, a bit of a tangent. And a bit of an Easter egg, is the idea of who would play the older characters in it. And without going into the full discussion, I mean, we were talking about a lot of the typical redheaded actresses. And I was saying, why do we try and think of people who aren't in the public eye? Then the obvious ones are like, Emma Stone and Jessica Chastain. And I'm like, no, brilliant actors. But they're all like if you're literally picking them because they're redheads.
Exactly.
What's the point? And like my mate Connor brought up an actress who I think she's I can't remember what series she's in, maybe Homeland or something, and I don't know her.
Yeah.
But I looked at the picture of her and I thought, you know what? Yeah, she could play an older Beverly.
Yeah.
I was like, she actually looks a little bit like the girl who plays her and could be very easily.
Yeah,
play
exactly.
her.
Yeah.
And I thought, but I've never heard of her really, and she's obviously been in one major thing, and I thought. Yeah,
rather
than going to
who's good at the moment, who's like,
ginger,
who's ginger and who's good. No, I think it'll be interesting to see how, because like, how do you bring in like mutant powers into the Marvel universe? Like now, like how do you do it in a way that isn't dumb? Like, because either you go, oh, there's some event that gives everyone powers, which is dumb, or you go, people have always had powers, in which case you go, well, why has no one noticed till now? Like, there was, it's really, I think.
I think either way you do, it's going to be a bit hammy.
Yeah, Kevin Feige's probably banging his head against the table because they've gone to him like, Kevin, guess what? We've got the X-Men, and he's like, no. What? And he's like, yeah, we need him in the next film, and he's like, what? And he's like, but like, how like, and they're like, I don't know, it's your job, innit?
Yeah, like, right, sort it.
Yeah.
Like, just throw the X-Men on his table and just sort this out. Yeah,
he's probably been dreaming of it for ages, and then suddenly it's just like.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe he's had it planned out for years. Maybe he's like, you know what? If we ever got X-Men back, this is exactly how I'd do it. Yeah,
hopefully, yeah.
I think the obvious ones, the obvious one like I mentioned earlier, is that you've got a reality warping glove about to be used by Thanos. So whatever the fallout of Avengers 4 could be, is that you kind of almost soft reboot where you go that like, you know, they're like, oh, well, we're having a meeting. Oh, Professor X come in, and then he just rolls in at the end of Avengers 4, and you go, oh shit. I think one there's a guy on YouTube called his tag is Comics Explained. Yeah. And he does a lot of explaining comics if you couldn't figure it out. And he's a brilliant guy, but he theorized a way of bringing the X-Men in and said that you'd set up. The way he outlines it is really a lack of understanding about how films work. I kind of was watching it going, you clearly don't know how films are made.
Yeah, you don't understand it.
Like because a lot of what you're saying is a bit bad.
Yeah.
But he said, why don't you do an origin film of Professor X, kind of learning about his powers and exploring the world, trying to find mutants. Yeah. And then he said that why don't you. It was the comic book where he fights a character called Shadow King.
Okay, yeah.
You might be familiar with.
I've heard of him.
And you basically have that as Professor X's first exposure to an evil mutant and the possibilities of what an evil mutant could do to the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And the end of that film is essentially Professor X going, I need to hide mutants from humanity while we sort this out.
Yeah.
So he basically uses Cerebro to erase the mind of mutants from every human on Earth.
Yeah.
And because in the comics, apparently Captain America's super soldier program was to stop mutants. And he said as a bit of world building, you could do the idea that when all the minds were erased or altered in some way, it was at the time of World War II. So when the government just kind of woke up from whatever days they were in and realised they were working on a project, they thought it was to stop the Nazis and not to stop mutants, which was the rising threat.
Yeah.
And then it would make more sense because it was like, well, super soldiers are all well and good for World War II, but why would you, they would make more sense to have them against a load of superhero beings that you want to stop. And I thought that would be an interesting way of going, well, they have always been there, but mutants have always... And the X-Men do just deal with mutants.
Yeah, they do.
They very rarely team up with the X-Men, or they didn't for years. Go in... and he made a point of saying Vision's a robot who's not only recently been born, but he's not human. Yeah. So he could be the one that discovers them and bridges the gap where he's like, I've been noticing you around, but no one else seems to notice that you're here.
Because Professor X has been doing this for years, blocking everyone's memories against
almost
it.
Because we've seen in the X-Men films that he can make him pretty much invisible to people. If you do that where it's like Vision's like, I've noticed that no one else is noticing your little jet flying around saving the world, mate, and that no one's talked about it at all. Yeah, and then that could be like a bridging gap. And I think that's quite a nice little world building.
I think that'd be the coolest way to do it. Do you want to know what Walt Disney Company is worth?
Go on.
95.79 billion.
That's
with all their assets. They own a lot of stuff that I didn't realise they owned.
Yeah.
So they've got consumer products, which is stuff like Star Wars and Marvel and Muppets. But then they also, I didn't know this, they own ABC Entertainment.
Oh, did you not?
Yeah, because they've got a branch off Disney Media Networks. So they own ABC Entertainment, News and Radio. They own 80% of ESPN. They own 30% of Hulu. But I think that'll be going up now because I think Fox owns some of Hulu as well.
Someone was saying that, because Disney have been planning, they've been pulling, obviously, all the Marvel properties and Star Wars and stuff off Netflix to rival Netflix.
Well, yeah, because they've already got their own, haven't they? It's Disney... It's mainly kids shows at the moment, but I can't think. What it's called,
I mean, but there's been a huge plan of like revealing their own.
Yeah, but it'll probably
service.
be something to do like.
Well, someone just said like they'll probably just utilise Hulu. They'll probably just rebrand Hulu in some way, or
they only own 30%. Well, maybe they own more now.
I think someone was saying that like, now they own the majority stock.
Yeah, they probably
so,
own about 80% now, so maybe they'll do that. Yeah, and then obviously they own DreamWorks and Lucasfilm, Marvel, and Pixar.
I didn't know they own DreamWorks.
Yeah, well, their distribution arm of DreamWorks.
Oh, that's
I think.
mad.
I don't think they own the actual animation part.
Who else was it? It was DreamWorks.
DreamWorks, Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Marvel, and Pixar.
Yeah.
So they own a lot of the big. Like you think nowadays, like the big films coming out, like look at the schedule. You know, everyone excited for Star Wars, everyone excited for Marvel, everyone's excited for Pixar. Like, do you know what I mean? They kind of getting everything at the top of the game, and it's kind of worrying in a way because you don't want someone to own everything. Like it feels like there should be laws against this, and like I know back in the day there were kind of things to break up the studios so it wasn't all
monopolised. There's been a recent, just after it announced, I saw something about some kind of lawsuit the government were putting together, maybe not a lawsuit but investigation into like whether they're allowed to do that, and I'm sure they are. Like they've got the best lawyers in the world. It's, you know, they're going to have done everything to the best of their ability to make sure that it absolutely works out, because it's too big a deal to be like, oh yeah, let's do this, and then all of a sudden you go, actually you can't do that, that's breaking the law. Like, they're not going to hype everything up without. It's
like, do you know that you're not sure how to do that, right?
It's not two blokes in a garage going, well, if I just give you this and you give me that, and it's like, actually you can't, it's breaking the law. It's Disney and Fox. Do you know what I mean?
But I just think kind of it's just mental, and the only thing that kind of gives me not hope, but Disney seems to be a company that buy good things and then just go, all right guys, we're not gonna do anything here.
Yeah,
you keep doing what you're doing and we're just going to give you the money to do it.
Yeah, they seem to hire people who know what they're doing.
Because it feels like with Pixar, I know, especially with Pixar, when did they buy Pixar? Let me just find out. But I'm pretty sure when they bought Pixar was obviously quite successful at the time, but really it was like really small at the time.
Was Pixar always, did they distribute through Disney? So they were an independent studio and then...
so it began in 1979, so it is like quite old. Oh, and it was part of Lucasfilm as well, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did know that, actually.
Oh, yeah, because it's ILM, innit?
Yeah, so it's kind of part of that. But then it became, in like 1986, it became kind of its own thing and everything. Yeah, because that's when it got funded by Steve Jobs and everything like that. And he obviously owned it for... That's so weird as well.
It's such a weird fact.
Why did he just go like, yeah, I'm going to buy most of Pixar or whatever? And then Disney purchased them in 2006. So obviously they were there for a long time.
Because I imagine that was the case then. Like, I imagine Disney was nothing but a distributor for like Toy Story.
Yeah, it would have been just as like a distributor for it, like because they have their own independent distribution arm, like at Disney. So they would literally just be distributing it, and then. But I know that when they did take over, I remember seeing a documentary about it, and they kind of, Disney kind of almost altered themselves to be more like Pixar, because of the way Pixar worked, because they were like, this is so like amazing, like the quality that they produce.
You mean like Disney animation type?
Yeah, they just kind of altered their workflow and regime and the way they structured things, I think, within the company, so they could be more like Pixar, because Pixar was like so like incredibly successful. Because do you know what I mean? Like, you think now, it's part of Disney, but the films they released before Disney, you know, like Toy Story and stuff like that, it's just like really impressive. But they don't seem to meddle that much, Disney. Like, they just seem to go to the companies like Pixar and go, do what you want to do. And obviously Marvel, it's got Kevin Feige at the top of it doing his own thing, and kind of doing his own thing. I'm sure he has to answer to someone.
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty sure they're like, you're the money maker.
Yeah, I think at the start he did have an executive above him, didn't he? I think.
Well, that's what's caused a lot of rifts between Marvel TV and Marvel Studios, for what I believe. Like, because it seems like. Because Marvel TV is run by someone else, I can't remember what it is. And I think Marvel's current head is... I think it's Jeff Loeb. I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure it was... Jeff Loeb was way up there anyway.
Yeah.
But, so basically Marvel, it was still like a 3-point process, which was Kevin Feige responded to Marvel's head, and then Marvel's head responded to Disney.
Yeah.
But then because of how successful Marvel Studios were in itself, they made Marvel and then Marvel Studios two separate entities almost.
Yeah. So it's Marvel Entertainment, isn't it? Which is just TV and stuff, and then Marvel.
And that's why there's a bit of a rift, because I think that's why people have said that things like the Netflix series and the movies will never cross over, because maybe at some point they would have done, like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was in that era where Feige was part of like this 3-point process, but now after the success of the Avengers, around about the time of Avengers 2, they moved him up to answer directly to Disney. So I think that's caused an apparent rift between the TV studio and like the film. So
but that's what I mean. It's kind of obviously they've kind of been left to their own devices to a certain extent, because Disney are letting that rift be there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're not going.
I mean, I think it's better though.
It is better
because it feels pettier. It feels like Disney going, why should, like, we know that you're making good decisions. Why should you have to go through someone else before getting to us?
Yeah, that's how you promote someone. Going, you're doing a great job. Like, do you know what I mean? That's kind of what gives me encouragement about Disney taking over stuff, is them going. I mean, I don't think it is right. I think morally, I think it is a bit like iffy, them owning so much. But kind of looking at the moment, it's them kind of.
It's almost quality control.
It's that it's them kind of getting to these companies that are doing really well anyway. Or what it seems anyway, of like Marvel, like Lucasfilm obviously stalled. Pixar, like the Pixar one was kind of them acquiring it and going, keep doing what you're doing, but we're going to give you loads more money to do it, which is great, because they're like Pixar's still doing what they're doing, they're still doing a great job, but they're just funded by Disney now, but they're allowed to do what they want. With like Marvel, again, it was kind of flatlining a bit, and they went, this is great, and then they started building it, and then realised how good Kevin Feige was at doing it all, and went, keep doing what you're doing, man. Like, you're in charge now, which is great. And then Lucasfilm had obviously stalled after the prequels and stuff and everything, and then they were going, right, this is a mint property. We want to do more with this. Like, let's buy it and we can keep this going. And kind of Fox has stalled a bit as well. And you kind of feel like, I don't think it's right at the moment, all these companies, but they kind of seem, obviously it is money making. It's all money making. Like, at the end of the day, it is about money making, but it kind of feels like they are going, what can we buy that's going to make where can we make good content? It's not like they're just buying everything and anything.
I mean, I think I'd make an argument if they bought Lord of the Rings and they wanted to do loads of Lord of the Rings, because I think Lord of the Rings has had its time. I think if anything's proven that, The Hobbit. Like, unfortunately, like, and I know your passion for Lord of the Rings, so I almost feel like anything I say might be blasphemy, but
it is, get out.
But like Lord of the Rings is a trilogy, and this potential series they might be doing that I think it's confirmed. Like, it's one of these things where I'm like, let's see how that plays out, but you're telling the same story. That everyone
it's not actually. It's a
no,
it's a prequel. Like, that's what I mean. Everyone's advertising it as it's a Lord of the Rings remake. It's like it's not set before the time of Lord of the Rings.
Fair enough.
So it is going to explore a different story, which is interesting. Like there's, to be fair, like people kind of go, oh, why are they doing it? And you're like, Lord of the Rings probably got more mythology than like any other series, like franchise going. So there is stuff to explore there.
But there is a bit of, it feels a bit like there is a circle with like where you should end and where you should start Lord of the Rings.
Exactly,
especially because a lot of Lord of the Rings history is already written.
Exactly,
like he went, like with Star Wars, it was very much just, oh well, the past is very open and the future is very open to Star Wars, and the same with Marvel. Lord of the Rings feels very enclosed, and it's worked in its favour.
Hopefully, it's good in a way. Like with this TV series as a prequel, you hope, okay, well, there's only so much you can go up to, because then you're getting into the films. So hopefully, you can just do this and then leave it.
Exactly. So I think if someone was trying to like, I think if Disney bought that and was like, let's go ham on making Lord of the Rings stuff, it'd be like you're kind of beating a dead horse. Like, it deserves where it needs to be, which is a very closed loop. While I think like you say, like things like Star Wars, where they were clearly carrying on making things, but it felt like they were almost like skimming the ground, where it was like you've got the comics that are going through, because obviously they bought aspects of Lucasfilm. I think they bought LucasArts or something beforehand.
Yeah, probably.
Because Disney have been, like, I remember having my sister go to Disneyland and like bringing Star Wars related stuff back. And I remember seeing in the news that Star Wars is now part of Disney somehow. But I don't think they held. I think they just had a big part in it. They weren't complete owners of it, and it wasn't only until recently they did that. And so Marvel was still distributing the comics and stuff. I think it was Dark Horse even before that. So it was very much just going, oh no, watch, like Star Wars is still hitting the ground. Like, we're still there. We're still knocking them out. But obviously it wasn't. They weren't making movies because it was almost dead territory to do, because after the prequels, TV shows were were doing all right, but
Yeah, but
weren't
nothing special.
major yet. And it was like you say, I think they really brought new life into that. And the same with Marvel Comics is they've kind of gone, well, not necessarily the comics, but with the movies, they've obviously been nothing but successful.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, yeah, I know what you mean. Like, I'm the same. Where it's like part of me doesn't like the idea that there's this monopolization, but I feel that's like a criticism of just business in general,
Yeah.
and like how big businesses work. And I think at the end of the day, I'm not going to change that. Like,
Yeah.
my thoughts on how businesses like of that level behave is nothing part of my world. So
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
kind of, I think once you accept it,
Yeah, it's
you
gonna
kind of just have
happen,
to
innit?
look at the silver linings
Yeah.
you get from it. And personally, I just go, well, how will it affect me? And it affects me in the way of going,
I'm
I
gonna
might
get some great films.
I might get some great
Yeah,
content.
exactly. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And yeah, it's a hard one. About like it's a moral sort of standpoint of, is it all right for Disney to own everything? But as like they're picking quality stuff, they're picking what they're buying. It's not like, I mean, yeah, obviously they've got Marvel and Lucasfilm and Fox quite. I mean, well, no, they've owned Marvel for years. Let's not like Lucasfilm and Fox have come quite close together, relatively anyway, like a few years apart, sort of getting both. But it feels like they are picking stuff carefully. It isn't just like what's popular. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they've just gone, Game of Thrones is good, let's buy HBO.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh well, you know, Coronation Street's all right, so let's buy ITV. Do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're just
Can
snapping.
you imagine?
It's not like
Celebrity Juice run by
Yeah.
Disney.
It's not like they're just snapping up anything and everything. And,
Yeah.
So before they take over, Fox was worth $52 billion, which is pretty good, pretty decent amount. So obviously they owned like some of Sky, they owned 20th Century Fox, Fox Studios Australia, Hulu, National Geographic, then a load of like the television Fox stuff. So the other things that stayed with Fox, well, the Murdochs, is Fox Business Network, Fox News Channel, and Fox Sport Media Group. That's weird though. They got National Geographic as well, man.
Yeah,
like, what are they doing with that?
You know
what?
what?
Are you doing with
I
that?
genuinely
Like,
had a thought when you said that of just seeing like they could do it as like a little promo, which is that like you see the Serengeti,
yeah,
load of real lions run past, but then you've got cartoon Timon and Pumbaa behind them.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd laugh at that.
Yeah, it's like,
I'm fine
but
with
what are you
that.
doing with that? What are you doing with that, Disney?
Yeah.
Come on. But not like they've taken over 20th Century Fox. Do you know what I mean? They haven't like, you think, oh yeah, they've bought, you know, they've got X-Men now, they've got this,
Yeah.
they've got that. They've bought a whole film studio,
Yeah.
like one of the big film studios. And that, like, it's not like it's failing either. Do you know what I mean? They've got like 4 Avatars. Like, what happens to Avatar now? Then does that carry on?
You know what? I hope whatever these 4, 5, 6 always evolving amount of sequels that happen to Avatar
Fail.
just don't
Yeah.
happen. Because
Exactly.
that film was visually stunning. It like I thought it was one of the most everything it was praised for visually it deserved. It was stunning.
Oh yeah.
However, as a story, it wasn't that great.
No, it's fine.
And people were
Like-
saying that it was like, oh, the story was shit. It was like, it's a story that's been written about for 12
Yeah,
years. And it's been taking him 12 years to make. He was probably focusing on just getting the shit together
The
to make
visuals
it
and
look
stuff.
good. Like, the story is very basic. Like, granted.
Yeah.
But it's still like a good story that serves the visuals. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah,
very...
the story's fine.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a good, it's a decent story. But like Disney having a hand in that now, I think maybe it'll happen faster because
Yeah.
maybe it was on the bottom rung because it was like, but now like it feels like quite a Disney film anyway.
Yeah,
Because everyone was
exactly,
everyone was saying it's just like Pocahontas anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels very much like just in like the way it's like it was done visually as well. It feels very Disney, like a lot of the like aliens design stuff. So anyway, so maybe it'll happen quicker and maybe it'll be
it's
better.
It's just strange though, like to just buy like a full company, like
full
film
studio,
company that's doing well. Like Pixar, they bought as Pixar's on the up, so they were like, "You guys are great. Like, carry on doing what we're doing. We're just going to give you loads more money to do it." You know, Marvel were on the down, Lucasfilm were on the down. Like 20th Century Fox, X-Men's not doing great, which is a big one that everyone talks about and stuff, especially surrounding this. Like we've spoken about it loads, but you kind of go, it's a company that's completely there. You know what I mean? It's making
It's
films.
still doing its thing.
Yeah, it's doing its thing. Like it's got big releases coming out and big releases planned and stuff. So it's kind of really strange that they've just gone. It's
Disney almost feels like a nurse or like a little vet, like putting a little feels like putting a little bandage on a wounded wing. Do you know what I mean? Of like something that's not done. But this feels like you've taken something that's not broken, but you've got to fix it.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
I'm not saying that that's what they've done, and I don't think Fox was broken. I think obviously, like any studio, they were doing some things good, some things bad.
Yeah.
But like that's just the way studios work. You can't have everything great. But like I think it's like you say, it's weird. I think it's unprecedented. I know from the business side of it, it's not. But I think it's so much more massive
in
than
the modern era. It is definitely
for like no one to have made as big a deal about it than I thought they would. It is like majorly unheard of, like to do something that big. Well, I guess it is unheard of because who does that? Like, these are the big six that have been around for almost the last 10, 15 years. Like before Disney really came along, it was five major studios, and it's like they've established themselves as one of the big six anyway. Is it big six?
Yeah, well, kind of. Yeah. Traditionally, it's the big six.
So that's what I mean, but now it's the big five again, because Disney have just been like, well, we'll have one of them, shall we?
Yeah, so they've got going on there. This is 2018 releases for Fox. So you got The Post, which is actually supposed to be really good, with Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep. Yeah, Maze Runner, the last one of that.
Oh yeah, of course.
Red Sparrow, that's got Jennifer Lawrence in it. Love, Simon, don't know what that is. New Mutants, Deadpool 2. What else we got? The Predator.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah. The Darkest Minds, don't know what that is. Kid Who Would Be King, don't know. Bad Times at the El Royal, don't know what that is. X-Men. So there's a lot. There's Bohemian Rhapsody film, and then there's even stuff going into like 2019, like planned. Yeah, releases. Like they had like untitled Marvel films up until November 2019.
Well, yeah, because there was that weapon. No, not what's it called?
Well, later than that,
X-Force.
Actually.
X-Force is like something that's
March 2020. They had one, and you just kind of 2021 was the last one they had. So you just think like, what happens with all these now? Then, like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I think
you feel sorry for the people working on them. Like, I think that's.
I don't know if I do. Like,
no, but if they're working on it hard and then they're gone, oh yeah, we're bought by Disney now, so you've not got a job anymore.
Oh no, in that respect, I feel very sorry for them.
Like,
I thought you meant like the directors and the writers.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff, but yeah, the people who are like
and stuff.
Yeah, the people who've like worked behind the scenes a lot more. I think the thing that it's interesting about that actually, one thing I wasn't thinking too much about is the idea of how, because what they've said is it Bob Iger who owns Disney? Is he the CEO?
I don't know. I'll find out.
I think that's his. I can't quite remember. But like he's basically said on the acquisition of it, he was saying that everything we're pretty much going to keep everything as it was. Like the people at Fox, Bob Iger, yeah. Like the people at Fox have been doing really well with like Ryan Reynolds, and everything he's doing with Deadpool's going to be left alone.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like X-Men, obviously they didn't make any promises, and I think good.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like yeah.
We might change that bit.
We're going to change that one.
Yeah. But I think that's interesting to go with things like unplanned films, because like the thing is and one fear I have and Disney's kind of going in that direction, and I think they maybe will pull back a bit from the backlash that Last Jedi had, where a lot of people said the comedy was too much.
Yeah.
And I think like we've said it that like the comedy, some of it landed, some of it didn't, and maybe in some respects it could have been less funny because obviously some of the jokes were unnecessary and didn't belong in a scene. And people going, oh, it's very Disneyfied. I'm like, do one. Like, yeah, it's not Disneyfied, because like I hate that criticism, because you're only saying that because it's Disney that have done it. Like, exactly, it feels that like Kathleen Kennedy, no matter who she works for, if she'd been given all the reins to Star Wars, that's probably the way she would have run that. Exactly, yeah. Like, I feel that's the way it would have gone. And like, I know like Marvel, like I've discussed this with a few friends because I've heard a criticism of it, which is that it's almost becoming too subversive now. Like, and like I was saying a bit about Doctor Strange the other day, where it's like these little moments where, there's moments that could be quite big moments for the character, and they are undercut with a joke, and it's like, I think Marvel's kind of time of doing that should be over. It's become
too much.
Like Jack Howard, the YouTuber, he was talking about Taika Waititi doing that in Thor, where spoiler alert, but like in Ragnarok, there's a bit where like Bruce Banner jumps out of a ship, and it harks back to the Incredible Hulk when it was Edward Norton, and jumps out the ship, hits the ground, but then
Yeah.
breaks out of the ground as the Hulk.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
literally just bounces off. And it's the joke is that he expects to,
Yeah.
but you know it's coming.
I think that's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
I
Don't get me
loved
wrong.
it.
It's a great joke, but it's the fact that he was making the criticism, and I knew it as well. I watched it, and I laughed when I saw it because it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
funny visually. It was
Yeah,
visually funny. Like, it was a bit slapstick, but it was the fact that I knew it was coming. Like, I knew that wasn't going to be the epic moment because Marvel had already seen that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, we've already done the bit where he falls out the plane and then becomes the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly.
So I knew he'd bounce off because it was funnier, and
Yeah.
it was funny. But it was the fact of going, when you can start expecting the moments that they're being subversive,
Yeah.
it
too much.
loses the point
Yeah,
of being
yeah.
subversive. Like, you're becoming the
Yeah.
whole point is that you're undercutting the genre.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
when that has become the genre of film
Yeah,
you're
you need to then
making,
move on to something
Yeah.
else. Although I do feel like Thor, when it undercut it, like the moment with humour, it generally worked.
Oh, no, it absolutely did.
But with like Star
Absolutely
Wars,
did.
it didn't. A lot
No,
of
yeah,
the time.
no, that's-
Star Wars,
that's
it was
the thing,
like,
yeah.
that's a weird time to make a joke.
Yeah.
Like I felt like Thor didn't really undercut any really serious moments with a joke. It was more just like an
I think it's
epic
because-
moment. It then undercut
Yeah.
with a joke.
I think
Whereas
it's
the
'cause Thor-
emotional thing, it didn't. As
Thor's
much.
character and everything, I think that belongs better in comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
I think what they've discovered is that, and I think Chris Hemsworth was saying that he got bored of the character because of how serious he took himself.
Yeah.
And he said that he always appreciated the humour parts of it. I think it's why he's probably agreed to do stuff like the sketch with Dale. Like they're really
So
good
good,
little mini films, and it's like the fact of going, Thor does belong in that realm of being a bit ridiculous.
Well, it is. You know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
Norse god in like a modern world.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be.
Yeah,
Jokey.
but like where Star Wars is very much itself, I
Yeah,
think it's, though it's funny to be subversive every now and again. Like, you know, there's the joke of kind of I can't remember what, I think it's a Finn joke I was going to make, but I can't remember what it was now. I had it in mind.
Is
But
it Rebel Scum?
yeah, I quite liked that. Like,
Yeah,
people were
I
saying like,
didn't mind that too much.
I was like, yeah, he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Rebel Scum, and I was
Yeah.
like, see, that's like going, that's like a bit of a cheesy line they used to
Yeah,
say in
yeah.
the prequels.
And it is cheesy.
It is
but-
cheesy, but they've kind of made a joke
But
out of it, and I like that.
When people are like, "Oh, Star Wars shouldn't be cheesy," I'm like, "Have you seen the
Yeah,
originals?
it's always
Like, you
cheesy.
seen them? Like,
It's a bloke with an
Yeah.
open shirt and
Yeah.
the most swaffed hair I've ever
Yeah.
seen in my life, with a laser sword kissing a
Exactly,
princess. It's all camp.
Exactly,
like
yeah,
it's a very
so-
camp space opera.
yeah,
like, that's
exactly,
what
yeah,
it is.
space opera. That's literally
Yeah.
what it's called. And you think like, what are you on about? Like, people have this weird thing about. I know we're back on Star Wars.
Yeah.
Maybe we should end it after this. Now, some round circle.
Yeah.
Going on about Star Wars being. When everyone looks at the originals with such rose-tinted glasses,
Oh, absolutely.
Like, if you actually watch A New Hope, it's not a good film.
No.
like it's,
I said this in
some of it's-
work.
The acting's bad. The
We were,
dialogue's
we were
not
discussing
great.
this in work, and like I've just started a new job, and like they were making a joke saying, and at the time, bearing in mind I was wearing my Christmas jumper that's R2D2 on it, and underneath that I had another Christmas Star Wars top underneath that. And I said, like, I went, yeah, but if you look back, and I was trying to make the same point of going, if you look back, Star Wars is rubbish.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were like, how dare you, get out. And I was like, no, but like,
I love it.
like, appreciate where I'm coming
Yeah,
from.
look
like,
at what I'm wearing.
Yeah, it's like, it's literally my favourite thing on earth,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Like, unfortunately, that's the life I live, but like,
Yeah.
Star Wars is my favourite thing. But it's the fact that going, again, like, I appreciate that it's a bit ridiculous and it's all a bit
Yeah,
camp
yeah.
and cheesy, but that's why I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
But you don't look at the acting and go, oh my god. Like, I can't believe how incredible that man in a big black bin
Yeah,
looks.
exactly,
Do you
yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you know, like, I can't believe how well acted he is. Like,
Yeah.
it's one of those, but I think the point I was going to make, was where things like that don't work.
Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
that's almost like Disney doing the cusp. I
Yeah,
think they
yeah.
learn better than anyone else.
Yo, yeah,
While
definitely.
Fox seem to kind of...
Fox
with
just
Fox,
force
they
it.
panic. They seem to see stuff that works, a la Fantastic Four,
Yeah, yeah.
and then go... oh, well, a big blue beam in the sky works, and
Yeah,
a funny
yeah.
joke at the end works, so let's make Fantastic Four
Exactly,
that.
yeah.
And they seem to have panicked and then panic meddled, which is what I
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
Warner Brothers has done a lot. And what I'm curious about is whether, with things like X-Force, which was a film that was in the works,
Yeah.
and it was going to star Cable and potentially Deadpool, and potentially X-23
Yeah.
from Logan, and people were saying that, like, oh, she was going to get a spin-off, and will she get a spin-off now? And I was
Yeah, yeah.
like, I think the little girl who played X-23 was really good.
Yeah, she
I
was,
don't
yeah.
think she deserves a film on her own.
No,
I think, like, she probably, like, the film worked as her as a little girl.
Yeah, exactly,
With
yeah.
Logan as a father figure.
Exactly. I think.
I would rather, if you do a X-23 spin-off, recast her as and make her an adult.
Yeah, exactly,
Like, have
yeah.
an adult female Wolverine getting about,
Yeah.
like, and have a bit of experience behind her.
Exactly. Yeah.
rather than do that little girl was really good. Let's get her to do like
exactly.
a role.
That's kind of what Fox seems to do, though. They kind of get onto a good thing, and then we're just like
and rinse it.
Let's do it all. Whereas Disney, as you say, maybe don't always hit the mark. Excuse me, perfectly, but they kind of go, all right, that didn't kind of work. Let's go somewhere else.
Which is why I'm quite happy that, like, I think if I was like someone who was writing, like for example, X-Force, which I don't know if it's ever been pushed back, but I feel like it's been like always talked about for a while now.
It's always been on the radar, hasn't it?
And it's like I thought New Mutants would never happen. So to see a trailer, I'm like, and it looks interesting as well. I'm like, you know what, fine, like it might not be any good, but it looks different.
It might just be generic horror, but
but it looks different.
At least you're doing something a bit different. With
I'm hoping it doesn't.
Genre.
I hoping that's not a red herring either. I'm hoping that it doesn't just become a superhero film.
Yeah, but I hope it isn't just a horror either. Because then I'm just like, well, you've just put superheroes in horror.
Like if it's a body horror,
like
because we were saying one of the very good things about Fantastic Four is how it becomes a body horror.
Yeah, people are like, oh my god, what's happening to my body and my powers? And that's cool because like that's what a real person would be like if they suddenly turned into a rock.
That's what the beginning of X-Men is, where you have Rogue kissing that lad. And then she sucks the life out of me in quite a graphic scene of going.
I wonder where you're going with that. Then.
No, but it's like he has all the veins in his face. It looks very like almost Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of decaying face kind of thing, and like it feels very. Sorry, we're terribly distracted. The cat's just decided to interrupt this.
Yeah, you probably hear some footfalls on the microphone.
But yeah, basically it was like it's the fact that it started off as a body horror and then became a superhero film, which I don't have a problem with the original X-Men film. But it's like, X-Men have always kind of liked to start off the idea of mutants discovering their powers as horrific, but then it always just becomes into a generic superhero film. So if this film does follow that direction, it could be good. But I think what the point is that like I wonder if the person behind X-Force, who maybe had a particular idea in mind, and then Fox, they've got that kind of peak and trough of going, oh, we didn't have much faith in Logan or Deadpool, but it's really worked. Yeah, we planned that all along. Look how we're gonna we'll make all the more the same. But people didn't like them because they were the same thing. People liked them because they were different. And as soon as you start relying on that, and like Legion's done so well because of how different it is.
Yeah, I just think like,
and it's like
Legion's
different
so
good.
is good
at this time, especially when it comes to superhero properties.
Yeah,
I think one really interesting thing was that if I was the writer of X-Force, I might be more chuffed that Disney have it because as long as Disney go, your project's still going to happen. People are excited about it. People want to see it. And we want to see the ensemble film with Cable, Deadpool, and maybe an older X-23 if that's what they want to do. Or Domino, whoever.
Yeah, whoever's going to be in it.
Let's make it the way you want to make it. And let's just give you some helpful hands. We'll get Feige involved to see what he can recommend. Because Feige was part of the original X-Men, I believe. Like, he's the one that... He was like
Cyclops and...
Yeah. Like I don't think he wasn't directly involved, but he was like he was on hand as a.
The way you just said he was part of the original X-Men.
Oh right,
like, he was like
he was in the war room with the ball. Yeah, he just threw his cap.
Yeah,
he threw his baseball cap. But no, with he was came up with quite a lot of the ideas because he was quite heavily involved with I think film and Marvel at the time. Anyway.
He's probably involved with Marvel.
And it recently came out that he was some of the. I think it was oh. That's the cat. I think there's little moments I think it was his hair. I think it was Wolverine's hair because they wanted to go with the not realistic hair. And as daft as it looks, it is comic accurate.
Yeah.
And it does kind of set
works,
the tone.
It?
Yeah, it sets the tone a bit. And I think apparently that was Kevin Feige's idea. And it's the guy seems to know what works when it feels like it shouldn't as well.
Yeah.
So he's a very smart man. So it's even if it was you're going to do this X-Men property. It's very different to what you want to do with the mainstream X-Men. It's very different. We appreciate that, but here's something that we think we could do. And you know what I'm really looking forward to? I don't think we'll ever get a film of Spider-Man and Deadpool together.
Yeah.
But I'd really love some marketing. I'd really love some of that very meta fourth wall marketing with Deadpool to include maybe Tom Holland or
cool.
Logan and things like that. Because we made the Hugh Jackman joke.
It's
why can't Deadpool all of a sudden become very aware, or maybe he draws he draws a picture of he draws Cable on Thanos or something. Do you know what I mean?
Is that you just got to think if they get to a Deadpool 3, there's got to be jokes in there about the takeover and everything.
Oh yeah,
and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I'm expecting many a Thanos joke in this, with Josh Brolin being cast in both. I'm expecting some kind of
there'll be
joke.
something. Yeah, there'll be something in
there. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think generally good.
Yeah,
maybe morally a bit iffy, but it's probably going to go somewhere good. Like we're probably going to get some good films
Yeah.
out of it. We're going to get some good content.
Yeah.
Some good stuff to watch.
Can Disney buy Warner Brothers too?
Yeah.
Make sure DC's doing all right.
Oh, God, imagine.
Can they just rent Feige out like a freelancer?
Yeah, just be like
quality
fix that,
control.
mate.
Yeah, go do it, please.
But yeah, what do you guys think of the Fox takeover? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? What do you think it holds for the future of any of the properties? You know, X-Men, X-Force. What else have we got? Avatar. I think that's probably Simpsons.
Would
yeah.
it impact the Simpsons at all? Probably not.
No, probably won't because they're bigger than Disney.
Disney can't afford them.
Yeah, Disney can't afford them. But yeah, that's everything. Thanks for listening and everything. You can find us on Twitter at realfilm_movies, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, anywhere basically. And we'll see you soon. I mean, Guff won't because, you know, he's a guest on the podcast.
But come listen to us on a existential.
Yeah,
tangent.
if you like this, if you've liked Guffers, if you've liked me and Guffers riffing.
I wouldn't stake that on.
No,
me.
I will. I'll stake it on both of us.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed us together, you should check out the Existential Tangent podcast, which is a podcast we do together about life and stuff.
Yeah,
it's so hard to explain.
That's a terrible. It's just about. It's a bit more general, isn't it?
It's
a bit more like less topic based.
Yeah, just chatting rubbish basically. Yeah. But it's funny. I think I laugh.
Yeah, we laugh in it.
We laugh in it. So you might.
If you like laughing at what is essentially a laugh track of 4 people laughing at their own jokes,
you might laugh at it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks guys. See you next time.
Bye.